Hey everybody, Lawrence here with Dirty Basic Terrain coming at you with another one. In this one, we are going to be continuing our series in the building of replacement parts for the Mighty Fortress from Citadel Games from 1988. 88, yeah, 88. I was given this set from Mia Gate, and it wasn't complete, but I was still absolutely thrilled to get it. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I can make these replacement parts. Last video, you saw me make replacement doors. In this one, we're going to be making the fortress gates, or essentially really big doors. But I want to walk you through the process of how I made the gates for this. And there's actually two, but it's actually not that hard. So I want to walk you through it. But before we actually get started, I want to give a big thanks to my patrons, Dungeon Matron and Quarel. Your guys' help is so greatly appreciated. It is a big help to the channel, and I can't thank you enough. All right, guys, let's get to it.
This is pretty simple. I'm just going to measure the opening there, and not just the curvature part, the actual little indentation. It's going to wind up being 45 millimeters high by 35 wide, I think. But once I got that measured out, I'm just grabbing a chunk of some graphics medium chipboard, and I'm going to start cutting up a couple chunks that match the measurements I made. And here's just a simple matter of following along the lines I made and cutting out the pieces that I measured, and these are going to be the backings for the doors and other items. Give it a little test fit. It's a little snug, but I can trim that out no problem. But it fits perfectly. The second one did. And now I actually want to measure some backing pieces for the curvatures. And I'm going to cheat and just trace the pattern out. Actually, it's not cheating, it's just working smarter. And as you can see, I got it good to go there. Trim it in half. And then I have to do it 3 more times. It's pretty simple, though. And here I'm just cutting out the actual patterns that I traced. Yeah, I'm using scissors and it might crimp the edges a little bit, but these are backings for the gates or big doors. So any little crimping is going to be covered up. And it fits. Okay, these are a bunch of pieces that I had left over from making the doors, the smaller doors in the previous video. So I'm going to put them to use. Now I'm just kind of eyeballing, cutting them in half. And here, now that I got them all cut in half, I'm going to glue them on. Because I know they are too big for the door, the backings I have, but they can be trimmed later, which is what I will wind up doing. Not that hard. I'm using some wood glue, just brushing it on. Pretty simple. And then I'm going to take 2 of the pieces and then kind of eyeball them up the center of the split, so it's actually like 2 doors for the gate. Like I said, you don't have to be precise. This isn't rocket surgery. Just get it close. Here I'm going to enhance where the 2 different doors for the gate actually meet. And I'm really going to dig in with this pencil here. And I've already trimmed off the excess. Here I'm using my stiff nylon bristle grout brush to put in some texture lines for the wood. Now I actually want to put some metal banding around the edge here, but the chunks of foam that I have are just a bit too thick, so I'm going to use this roller, smooth roller I have. You can use like a standard kitchen roller if you want, and just kind of like squeeze the XPS a little bit onto the thin side. It's still a little too thick, so I'm going to use the rounded end here and just kind of really mush it down some more. I could actually cut a piece on my Proxxon that's thin enough, but this foam here was handy, and I had the roller, so I'm going to do this. And now it's thin enough. Just kind of want to get the idea of what half of it is, trace out the pattern, and then cut and trim it out to shape. Don't worry, there's more to come. And yeah, it matches up to what I want. Now I actually want to kind of eyeball it's like maybe an eighth of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch thick or wide. The outer edge of this metal banding up that's going to follow the entire outer edge of the door here. And now I'm going to use my X-Acto blade here and just trim it out. And now we have some kind of neat effect metal banding. Of course, now before I put this metal banding on, I actually want to use the pencil here and make individual planks on the door. There's no need to actually make individual pieces when this is actually just a lot easier. Now that I got that on, I'm going to glue on the metal banding around the edges of the door. Again, using wood glue, just paint the back of it and then press it down. Pretty simple, not that difficult or complicated. A little adjustment, but again, not that hard. Well, I really like the look of the metal banding around the edges of the door. It needed something extra, so I'm going to put in some like cross pieces going across the door just to give it a little more, because it needs it. At least in my eyes it did. So I'm taking a piece of foam I cut for the smaller doors that I had left over, and I rolled it thin, and now I'm cutting cross braces. And now I'm just adjusting it the size for where I want it. Do a little trim here, score it, cut it, and I'm just test fitting it for size and where it might go. Not that difficult. Rinse and repeat, and then I'm going to do this to all the doors. I'm going to put one at the top and one at the bottom, and every door will get it. And of course, you got to take a cute kitten break when you get a visitor. Come on, I mean, she's cute. Okay, back to work. Okay, I'm just going to be gluing on all the cross braces. Again, the same as like all the banding I put around the edges of the door. Flip it over to the back, paint on wood glue, and then press it into where I would like to have it. It was at this point I decided, yes, these doors still need something, so I'm going to thin out another piece of my extra foam, and I have this little gasket punch, or a leather punch, but not like the big wheel ones you see a lot. And I'm gonna cut a bunch of small rivet style pieces that look like bolts or giant nails or whatever. I just know I need something to make it look cool, and these will do it. I'm convinced these will give me that little final piece that'll make these doors what I want. Again, I'm just using the punch, cutting a bunch of them out, and then putting them into the cup for when I actually want to add them to the door. It can be a little monotonous, but it's the equipment I had, so that's what I'm using. Now for this, I'm actually using a toothpick, dipping it into the wood glue, and then putting a dot of glue onto wherever the rivet is going to go. I'm using tweezers to place them because these things are so thin and tiny. My big clumsy fingers can't get a hold of them properly. And then, like I said, dot with the glue and then place. I'm actually using these rivets on the cross pieces to cover up the seams too. Like I said, if you make a mistake, you can cover it up. So the seams from where the cross pieces go across the doors are getting covered up. Okay, here I'm taking one of the square pieces that I still have that I made earlier, placing the door where I think it looks okay, just a test fit. And now I'm going to brush on some of that wood glue I've been using throughout this section of the piece. And get a nice good even coat. And then I'm going to place it on. You can't really tell, but I am making minor adjustments, moving it slightly in one direction or the other. Just so eyeball it looks good. It's like, move it this way, move it that way, and move it this way. Till I'm happy with where it's placed. And now it's just a matter of a little, maybe some more minor adjustments until I'm just happy with it. Okay, I'll be honest here. I have no idea why I'm using a Q-tip. I think I just grabbed it because it was convenient and I didn't use a brush. But I'm basically placing wood glue on the edges where the gate is actually going to attach to. I'm never going to remove these doors, so I'm just gluing them in place. Pretty simple. And I'm going to be using some milliput because I want to work on the stonework that goes around the outer doors. So I'm just grabbing 2 equal parts of the two parts of the milliput, and I'm going to mix it up evenly. It takes a little bit, but you get a nice soft moldable putty that you can work with. A little sticky, but I've grown to love milliput. Grab a couple sculpting tools here. I have some water off camera. And grab little small pieces, and I'm just going to work it into the corners and the edges. Trying to take care to keep it off of the foam, the surface of the foam of the piece itself. Small amounts, adjusting it with my sculpting tools here. These are just like random. I don't even know where I got these tools. I think I may have picked them up at a convention a long, long time ago. It was like in a multi-pack. But just kind of enhancing the edges there. And putting in some lines for sort of almost like a brickwork. I decided to go with using the milliput because, honestly, I did it because it just seemed like it would be easier. And, yeah, it kind of was. It was either use for me, for this project, it was either milliput or XPS, and I just wanted to use the milliput, honestly. Like I said, just fill up the cracks, work some lines in with these cheap tools I got, and that's really it. There's not much to this. Well, you can see here it's all done. Now, for the inner gate doors, because I'm actually setting it up so there's 2 gate doors, I'm just going to glue it in right into the curvature there because this piece is relatively thick, so I can afford. I don't want to put them up against each other in the back, and I just want it to fill up the empty space there a little bit. And that's it. And here's some pretty pictures. I am really looking forward to getting these all done and being able to paint these, but I said I'm not painting it until all the replacement parts are done. I'm really enjoying making these pieces for this gorgeous piece of history.
Hey everybody, if you made it this far, it means you watched to the end, and as always, I do appreciate it. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more, click subscribe. Check out the description. There's lots of links to different places like Discord, Patreon, and all that other happy hoo-ha. Again, guys, I hope you got some use out of this, and I hope you enjoyed the video. But the thing is, guys, when you're making something, even a replacement part, even a replacement terrain, there's only one person you got to worry about, and that's you, because it's your terrain.